Guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Modesty33 here, aka Crystal with a C, back at you with another video. If you're new to my channel, you just happen to click on welcome to the Stranger Things season 3 review. So hopefully you all have caught up on all of my videos, and it was quite a whirlwind. But you guys, Stranger Things season 3, in case you missed it, came out on Independence Day, which was Thursday, July 4th. So today is actually Thursday, July, 18th. So it's like 2 weeks from the time that Stranger Things season 3 originally came out. So I'm here to you guys with the actual review of season 3. So I've had time to, go ahead, and all the episodes are edited and out on my channel due to a miracle from the Lord on high, because I have never done that ever before. And basically I uploaded one video a day until I finished. Didn't actually expect to finish that quickly with Stranger Things season 3, but I was so enjoying the season so much and interacting with you guys. So I did happen to finish it essentially 7 to 8 days after watching it originally on July 4th. So again, make sure you guys do check out those reactions. So this is going to be like an overall season 3 review. I do have, I believe, a season 1 and season 2 review on my channel, and I have reactions to season 2 as well. So make sure you guys check those out. It's actually the first reactions I ever did on my channel. So they're not the greatest, but they're probably still entertaining, you guys. And I actually did a season 1 review, didn't react to season 1. So in this review, we're just going to talk a little bit about season 3, what I liked, what I didn't like, my favorite episode, my least favorite episode, and just kind of my overall review. So I did take some notes, you guys. I took some notes, so I do just kind of want to make sure we're timely, because I actually have somewhere to go after this. So I'm going to try to be brief with it, but I did want to go ahead and get this review out to you guys before I go into picking back up my other reactions that I do on my channel, which are for Legion season 3 and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. season 6. So check those out as well. So Stranger Things season 3 was again created by the Duffer Brothers. So they are in the continuation with season 3. This season had 8 episodes. Last season had 9. I think season 1 had 8. So around 8-9 episodes for Stranger Things, which I feel like is a perfect amount as far as kind of your setup, as far as your season is concerned, your kind of your action sequences and your wrap up. So it's not a lot of in between time to be very sedentary or, just sitting around looking at one another. Things I felt like in every season moved pretty quickly, in my opinion. So as far as this season was concerned, I just want to go over some highlights that I enjoyed from every single episode this season. So episode 1, which was Susie, Do You Copy? We learned in episode 1 that Susie is Dustin's girlfriend, who's hotter than Phoebe Cates. I need to look up Phoebe Cates because I don't know who that is. I've heard the name, but probably there's a lot of searches going on Phoebe Cates, because a lot of people probably don't know who Phoebe Cates is. But yeah, so we learn about Susie, who's Dustin's girlfriend. Probably the highlight to me of this episode was kind of catching back up with all the characters and seeing, what they had been doing. And I feel like this episode establishes that they're not the same kids from season 1 or really from season 2. This does take place in 1985. I think Stranger Things, when it premiered, it originally took place in 1983. So you're talking about a 2-year gap. So we're in 85, and the first section that opens up after the credits is Mike and Eleven making out. So you already know that the tone is way different for this season as it relates to the other 2 seasons. So I really love just kind of catching up and seeing where everybody was, and then you have the little cliffhanger of Billy getting got at the end of the episode 1. Okay, moving on, episode 2, which was called The Mallrats, which I did not know Mallrats was a movie. I thought it was referring to the little rats in the show. But I didn't know it was actually a movie that I've never heard of or seen. But yeah, so it's kind of the introduction of the mall, which we did see a little bit of that in episode 1, but you kind of get this whole montage in episode 2 of Max and Eleven going to the mall. That was probably my favorite aspect of episode 2, as well as the reunion between Dustin and Steve. I absolutely love that. And so it was really cool, even the political underpinning of these episodes, where we're talking about how the mall the opening up of the mall actually closed down a lot of the businesses downtown. So I thought that was a really cool element to kind of bring into play as well that was going on during this time. But yeah, that was definitely the highlight, was kind of the relationship that grew between Max and 11, and just kind of them getting some girl time, because 11 gave, you know, Max the cold shoulder in season 1. So it was really cool to see them grow closer in season 2. I really love that. My favorite part of that was that whole montage was when 11 and Max were in the mall, and 11 was looking at that piece of clothing, and she was like, oh, do you like it? You know, you have to wear stuff until you see what, you know, fits you or what you like. And she was like, well, how? And 11 asked her, like, well, how do I know what I like? And she's like, well, it just fits you, not Hopper, not Mike. It fits you. You know, it's something that you like. So, you know, again, 11 finding her own sense of identity outside of Hopper and outside of Mike. So that's what I really loved about that episode. Episode 3 was the case of the missing lifeguard. I really love the connection. My favorite portion of the episode was the connection between how 11 and Max kind of started on their search as far as Billy was concerned. It started with them playing this little game at the beginning, kind of the spin the bottle, and then 11 unknowingly kind of stumbles upon Billy, you know, doing some weird stuff. And so that's kind of what initiates all of this connection between how did they find out about Billy, because in season 2, Will was a part of the core group of kids. So immediately everyone notices that there's an issue with Will, but because Billy is so disconnected from the group and he's older, no one would know without, you know, a creative type of tie-in. So I really liked the tie-in in episode 3. That was probably my favorite portion of that episode. Episode 4 was the sauna test. My favorite part of that episode was the segment at the end where the kids all trapped Billy. And that, you know, that whole thing worked out pretty well, where they were able to track Billy and confirm that he actually was a host of the Mind Flayer. So I did really like that. And him and 11 facing off for the first time, and just kind of seeing the struggle that 11 had in trying to beat him, and then seeing, like, essentially we got to see in that episode what the Mind Flayer actually kind of looks like when he took over, what's the girl's name? I want to say Holly, but it wasn't Holly. Heather, when they took over Heather's parents. I think that's her name, Heather. Yeah. So we did get to see that episode 4, and then you saw all the people that had been flayed. So episode 5, that leads into the flayed. I really enjoyed this episode. It was really like blood pumping, and I love the fact that Nancy Jonathan joined with the core group of kids. So that was like one of my favorite portions of the episode. And I didn't mention that too. That was kind of my favorite portion of episode 4 as well, when Max and 11 joined with Mike, Lucas, and Will, and they kind of came together to form their plan in episode 4. So I love where in episode 5 it's like a snowball effect. We're expanding and adding on, where Nancy and Jonathan are added onto the core group, and then they're all kind of going and trying to figure out, okay, like, what happened to Heather, what happened to her parents, and they discover all the chemicals at their house. So I did like that aspect of it, episode 5. And then of course, like, the episode ended off with, like, you know, this whole segment with Nancy and Jonathan being chased by Tom and the other guy, Bruce, who worked in the office, who have been flayed. And then with them, you know, being killed and then joining together to form that big monster at the end. Oh my gosh, you guys, like, that was so, like, oh my gosh, it was so stressful. Like, oh my God, that was such an awesome episode to me. You have episode 6, E Pluribus Unum, which I did look up, and I did put that in episode, what, out of many, one out of many, or out of many one, it's something like that. But yeah, it's Latin, and it was on the American, you know, money and bills and all of that. And so and essentially referring to one nation out of many states, I believe, yeah. So kind of referring to the Mind Flayer, and basically saying that all of these individuals who had been flayed and had essentially been taken over by the Mind Flayer made up the Mind Flayer, the one Mind Flayer. So E Pluribus Unum was really cool. I think, let me see, what are on my notes? Because this is, y'all, I'm going off of memory. I did write everything down, but I'm going off of memory. So episode 6, yeah, my favorite part of that episode was when 11 went into Billy's mind, and we got to see, like, Billy's history through her being inside of his mind. And I really loved that whole segment, and it was just visually just so captivating and just like really different than anything I feel like we've seen in this, you know, this series at all. So I really love that sense of storytelling, just like with season 2 when 11 was in her mother's mind. It was just visually like just so compelling, just like, you know, when she was in Billy's mind. So that was my favorite part of that episode, as well as when 11 got to speak one-on-one essentially with the mind flayer. Like that was like a crazy scene and sequence as well. And then, you know, all the people kind of adding to the flare, you know, the flare at the end. Episode 7, The Bite. My favorite aspect of that episode, let me look and see. I like the fight that they had with the mind flare at the beginning in the cabin. I thought that was very suspenseful. So I think that was really probably my favorite part of that episode, was the fight at the beginning of The Bite. Episode 8, what can I say about episode 8, you guys? Like, the whole episode was my favorite. Like, it was an hour and 17 minutes of absolute goodness and greatness and epicness. So, I love the fact that everyone literally came together in episode 8, you know, Hop, Murray Bowman, and I think, yeah, that was my favorite aspect too of episode 7. Let me mention that, because then 11 and the kids with Nancy and Jonathan did come together with Dustin, Steve, Robin, and Erica in episode 7. And then they had that little banter at the end of episode 7. That was one of my favorite portions as well of the episode, when they all came together like that, all the kids did. So that was really awesome as well. Episode 8, I love when, you know, Hopper, you know, the rest of the team, the squad came together. So everybody's together in episode 8, but then they all split apart and do their different roles in order to defeat the mind flayer. And I'm just going to go down the list of everything I loved in episode 8, because as far as my favorite episode is concerned, episode 8 was absolutely my favorite. So what I loved about episode 8 is that essentially, like, it had everything. Like, it had everything. It had action, it had emotion, it had epicness, it had death, it had everything in it. Like, it just was so awesome to me. So I did love the fact in episode 8 that it did not come down to 11 and her abilities to save the day in the end, like it kind of did for season 2 and season 1. So it was very different in that aspect, where everyone kind of had to level up and come up a bit in order for the mind flayer to be defeated. And essentially it came down to Hopper and Joyce being the final ones to do it, really. So I love that about episode 8, as far as how the monster was defeated, and then how Billy in the end stepped up and sacrificed himself to save 11. And I did not think that really Billy was gonna die, because I was like, if they're gonna kill Billy, I thought they would kill Billy, like, you know, in one of the prior episodes. But like, man, like, Billy sacrificed himself to save 11, and so, you know, he died. And like, Hopper is lost. I'm not gonna say Hopper is dead, but Hopper is lost. I didn't expect that either. But you had that whole little emotional segment as well. Lucas came clutch with the fireworks on the mind flayer. I really love that. And with the slingshot, Lucas had been practicing his aim. Yes, Lucas. So Lucas, I felt like, definitely stepped up for me this season. Who else? I feel like as far as those segments and scenes were concerned, that was awesome. Steve, what can I say about my boy Steve Harrington? Y'all see I'm wearing the shirt one last time before season 4. So we speak in season 4. But yeah, Steve Harrington, if it was even possible, Steve elevated another level in season 3. And my boy won a fight. My boy, like, saved Nancy and the kids. My boy saved Dustin and Erica. Like, Steve came through with all the saves, y'all. Yes, Steve Harrington. So my favorite character, and he elevated this season. Oh my gosh. So yeah, Steve, love Steve, love Steve. I loved all of the new additions this season with Erica, Robin, even Murray Bowman doing more, Alexi, like, you know, nobody felt like a throwaway character. And even like with Billy having more of a story this season, nobody felt like a throwaway. So I really felt like that was very well done too within the season. And definitely it all shined and came together in episode 8. Joyce moving away, like, oh my gosh, y'all, like that. Wow, the finality of that, like that whole scene at the end, y'all, I shed some tears. I'm not gonna lie, and I rarely ever shed tears in television shows, but actually, Stranger Things has almost caught me through these 3 seasons. I think season 1, when they found the body, where they thought they found Will's body, I think that was episode 3 of season 1. Like that whole scene was very sad. That almost caught me, but it didn't catch me. Season 2, what else? Season 2, I'm trying to think the episode in season 2. Well, season 1, episode 8, when, you know, they found Will in the Upside Down and they kind of went back to Hopper's daughter, Sarah. That almost caught me, but it didn't. Season 2, I don't know if there was a part in season 2 I almost cried. I think like maybe when Will and Mike and Joyce and all of them were kind of with Will when he was infected by the flare. And episode like 9, I think, was the final episode. Like I think when that whole scene almost caught me, but it didn't catch me. And then even when 11 kind of like at the end of episode 8, season 2, when 11 kind of came on the scene and Mike saw 11 the first time, like after that whole year, like their expressions were perfect. Oh my gosh. And that almost caught me, but it didn't. Y'all, they caught me this season. Why did they catch me? Hopper narrating the letter at the end. I was like, there was so much in that letter that like, man, it got me. And more than Billy dying, more than even losing Hop, so to speak, but I think it was the fact that, you know, with them moving away and them not being together anymore, the stakes this season just felt so much more real. The consequences of everything that happened felt more real than the last 2 seasons. So I felt like they did such a good job of emotionally giving that punch at the end of episode 8. So I love that, and you just really get the sense that they're not kids anymore, that there's no sense of going back to the Dungeons and Dragons, you know, times, and they showed some of those flashbacks in the episode and the season, but like there's no going back to that. Like they're for real, like grown. And I think, you know, a part of that too is that, you know, in season 1 we lost Barb, season 2 we lost Bob, but season 3 we lost Billy, Hop, Alexi, in addition to 30 people in the town died. So it was like, oh my gosh, like y'all killing off folks for real this time. So I don't know what they're gonna do in season 4, but the consequences of everything seem very real. So you have the same shenanigans that went on in this season, where again, they still got the slingshot, they still, you know, doing little stuff, but everything, the stakes were just a lot more higher in this season than the other 2 seasons. So it was still cute and funny, but at the end you saw the real impact of everything that was done. So that's what I really loved about this season, because they're not kids anymore and you have to actually show that as far as the consequences of everything that happened at the end. So that was really awesome in episode 8. And that is my favorite episode by far. If I were to pick a least favorite episode, I would say actually episode 7, The Bite. I felt like I love the episode still when I watch it back, but I didn't like, and I said this in my reaction, I didn't like the whole thing that was built up between Steve and Robin did not pay off. So that was probably my least favorite aspect of the season, to be honest, because y'all know I love Steve. So other than that, though, I loved everything about this season. It is my favorite season by far from seasons 1 and 2. But like at the same time, on the same note, let me tell y'all too, because I think I may have mentioned this before in my season 1 or 2 review, that I don't really like television shows that have little kids doing grown folk stuff. So I tend to enjoy television shows with children when they're older. So that might be my bias as well, why I like season 3 the best from season 2 and season 1. So I feel like for me, it would go directly in that order, 3, 2, and 1. Even though a lot of people had mixed feelings about season 2, I love season 2 and I love season 3 even more. Season 1 I love, but it's probably my least favorite out of the 3 seasons. So I definitely love season 3, my favorite. I look forward to seeing what the Duffer Brothers are gonna do. Hopefully if they continue on with season 4 of Stranger Things. So overall, you guys, I love this season. I think it's awesome. Hopefully I didn't give away too many spoilers in this review, but hopefully you've already seen it if you're watching this review. If you have not, definitely make sure you do. And that's pretty much it, you guys. If you enjoyed this review, make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Also, make sure you do share it with anyone else who likes reviews of television series and shows. Also, make sure you comment below. Let me know what you guys' favorite episode was this season, what your least favorite was. If you want to explain why, that's cool as well. Before you leave, you guys, make sure you do subscribe to the channel. You do that by hitting the red button below and hitting the bell next to it so you're notified when I do upload future videos. So again, you guys, I will be getting back to reactions probably next week. So just be on the lookout for that. And do not unsubscribe. Make sure you tell your friends so they can subscribe too, because we are still going to be having a good time on Modesty 33 channel. All right, you guys, I will see you in my very next video. Bye, guys.